I never thought a single sentence could fracture a life so completely. Get out. She didn't even look at me when she said it, her voice clipped, cold, final. I froze in the doorway of our bedroom, the words echoing in my ears like a hammer striking glass. For a split second I thought maybe she was joking. But the look on her face, icy, distant, told me she wasn't. I held up my hands, almost instinctively, as if that could protect me from the storm I'd never seen coming. I was just defending myself, I said, my voice trembling more than I wanted it to. I didn't mean. Defending yourself? She snapped, spinning around finally, her eyes burning with something I couldn't name. Defending yourself. Against me. Against my feelings. Her hands shook, and for the first time I noticed the raw, almost feral tension in her body. I can't even, just leave. I didn't argue. Not then. Not when the person you love more than anyone in the world looks at you like you're a stranger, like you're the enemy. I took my coat, my keys, and walked out into the cold night, the echo of her laughter, or was it relief? Following me down the empty street. I stayed at a small motel that night, staring at the ceiling, thinking over every argument, every silence, every awkward glance in the past few months. Had I really missed it? The signs. The subtle distances. Or was this betrayal something that had been building? Hidden behind the smiles and the I love yous I believed were true. By morning I knew one thing. I had to see for myself what had really happened. She wasn't answering my calls. Her phone went straight to voicemail. The neighbor said she had left the apartment, and no one knew where she'd gone. Something in my gut tightened like a fist. I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever had just happened was far bigger than an argument, far darker than anything I'd imagined. 3 days later I returned. Our apartment, the place we had shared for 7 years, was empty. Not the usual clutter of 2 lives intertwined. Our clothes, our books, our little mismatched cups, but bare. Not a single personal item remained. Her wardrobe gone, her photos, even the kitchenware we'd collected together over the years. It was as if she had never existed. I sank to the floor, my hands covering my face. The hollow silence screamed at me. And then I found it, a note, taped to the refrigerator. My hands shook as I unfolded it. I couldn't stay with someone who fights me when I try to open up. I loved you once, but that's over. You can have the apartment, the furniture, whatever's left. I'm done. My chest tightened until I felt like I couldn't breathe. Every word was a knife, precise and cold. She was done. And in her leaving, she had erased herself from the world we had built together. I didn't sleep that night. I walked the empty rooms, touching the bare walls, trying to remember the laughter that had once filled them, trying to remember her smile, the way she used to lean against me while I read, the way she brewed coffee just how I liked it on Sunday mornings. All gone. Just gone. A week passed. I didn't hear from her. No calls, no texts, no messages. Just silence, thicker and more suffocating than anything I had ever known. I found myself replaying our last conversation over and over, searching for the exact moment when everything had shifted, when her warmth had turned to frost. Then I saw him. I didn't mean to. I was walking through the small park near our apartment, lost in thought, when I spotted her. She wasn't alone. He was there, leaning close, his hand brushing against hers in that way that made my stomach twist. The easy laughter, the way she looked at him. It was the same look she used to give me in the early days of our love, the one that made me feel like I was the only person in the world. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask her how she could replace me so quickly, how she could erase everything we had shared and step into someone else's arms without a backward glance. But I couldn't. My legs felt rooted to the ground, my voice trapped in my throat. Days turned into weeks. I tried to reach out to make sense of what had happened. But each attempt was met with silence, or worse, the polite, distant tone of someone who no longer remembered intimacy, who no longer remembered love. It was my best friend who finally gave me the push I didn't know I needed. "You have to stop looking for her," he said, blunt and unwavering. "You're chasing a ghost, man. You're hurting yourself more than anyone. She's gone. Accept that, or you'll never move on. I wanted to hate him for his honesty, but deep down I knew he was right. I couldn't force someone to stay, couldn't force her to feel something she had clearly abandoned. But letting go felt like amputating a part of myself. One evening, months later, I found a small, unmarked envelope slipped under my door. I hesitated, half expecting another cruel trick, but curiosity overcame me. Inside was a single photograph. Her face smiling but not at me. Him. And a short message scrawled in a familiar hand. Some wounds can't be healed. I hope you find peace. I dropped the photo. The words didn't sting, they stabbed. There was no explanation, no apology, no acknowledgement of the life we had shared. Just a closing door. And yet, as I sat there, surrounded by the remnants of our life, silent, empty walls, memories that refused to leave, I realized something strange. The pain, the betrayal, the heartbreak. They were mine. Mine to feel, mine to survive. She had taken what she wanted, yes, but she couldn't take me, couldn't erase the years of love, the lessons, the resilience I had built alongside her. I let the tears come, finally, freely. Not because I hated her. Not because I wanted her back. But because I needed to release the part of myself that still clung to a life that no longer existed. Weeks later, I found myself in the apartment again, alone, for the first time without the weight of anger, bitterness, or denial pressing down on me. I opened the windows, letting the cold winter air fill the empty rooms. And in that silence, I felt a strange, quiet strength. I would survive. I would heal. And one day, I would remember her not with the sharp sting of betrayal, but as the woman I once loved, and the man I had become because of it. Because sometimes, heartbreak doesn't just break you. Sometimes it forces you to rebuild yourself from the ruins, stronger, wiser, and capable of loving again. I walked through the apartment one last time before leaving it forever, pausing at the empty space where our bed had been. I whispered to no one, to everyone, to myself. Goodbye and thank you. For everything. And nothing. And for the first time since she told me to get out, I felt something close to peace.